Hello again and welcome to another Pauper video. Today we're giving a 4-colour aggro deck a go. I think I may have been the first person to basically just jam Sneaky Snacker into the kind of Boros Bully shell, and I was very impressed with it. Again, there might be better options, but it's a lot of fun and you can get into some really interesting games where you just keep looping it back and draw through so much of your deck. Most of the shells, what you'd expect: Lunar Veteran, Sacred Cats, Rafine's Informant as kind of the draw and discard shell, and then Prismatic Strands, Battle Screech of White Weenie Fame, backed up by some Rally the Peasants, go with the Battle Screech. And then we're also playing Thrilling Discovery and Scrapbook Mutt. This deck isn't kind of turbocharged about getting Sneaky Snackers out because we've not got the Faithless Looting, so another way to draw two in the same turn. But we're kind of instead trying to focus more on playing to the board with more creatures. Scrapbook Mutt's Unearth is probably one of the main ways you're going to get a Snacker back. It'll be the second draw spot you have a lot of the time. We're playing the Gate package, and then so 4 Massive Gates and 8 red white gates, trying to maximize the number of comes into play untapped lands we can, and then the deck is very pip hungry. You can see almost of our 1 and 2 drops, there's only, well, the Scrapbook Mutts are a bit easier to cast, and then 6 of them that aren't exactly coloured mana pips. So the basic skates do have a kind of a pro and a con to them. I think when I first was playing this, I was playing up to 5 colours. I was playing Root Wallers as well, and at that point I had to cut the gates. But if the format's kind of a bit slower, the gate cat combo is, or gate and flyer combo is just too good to ignore. Sideboard wise, red blast for blue decks. We're up to 6 pieces of artifact hate for affinity. Ancient Grudge can come in to a few more matchups. Flaring Pain if anyone is on any kind of nonsense with fogging, or if we're against another Prismatic Strands deck. Sanabera and Thraben Charm, so a bit more it's kind of a bit more removal if we're against, say, a Broodscale. Sanabera is great against Elves, Broodscale, Boggles and the like. And then I'm just trying out Emogi's Favour. It's kind of something I keep on wanting to play against Blue Fae with this in my deck. In my head it's going to be really good. You can pick off a lot of their 1 toughness creatures. It's a bit mana intensive, but obviously this deck puts quite a lot of cards in its graveyard, so we'll be able to escape quite a lot. We will see if we pair into any and see how it goes. On playing round 1, gonna have to try and play pretty fast. We'll keep. So the idea of this deck is we are going to discard as many things as we can cast as possible, and try and avoid playing anything face up if we can. Does this extend to a Sacred Cat on turn 1? I think because we've got the Basilisk Gate, I am going to turn 1 play this. And we've got the Rally the Peasants we can discard to the Rafine's Informant. And obviously in some matchups, Sacred Cat, Scaredy Cat can be brilliant. So probably a blue-black control, not at its best, but he will do. And then we get our, fairly aggressive start, 1 drop, 2 drop, so 3-2 on turn 2. We'll discard the Snacker. Have to discard the Snacker any chance we get. He is straight up uncastable. At least Rally the Peasants we can cast, even though we prefer not to. And the Rafine's Informant just gets turned into basically a Lightning Axe, discard a card, which, yeah, seeing as it discarded a useless card from my hand, that's not too bad of an outcome. So it's a bit of a shame this is a turn slow. It would have been great to have the untapped red source, on that turn so that we could play the Thrilling Discovery. But the one thing we'll note with this, so we gain 2 life, then we choose to discard. So if they counter it, we don't just discard 2 cards for nothing. And here we can lead with the Raffine's Informant. If they interact with that, then we Discovery, pitching these 2. I don't hate that. So let's lead with the Informant. There'll be a spot here that we won't have. We won't have a 1/1 counter on this, so possibly we could have attacked first. But this way, if we draw, I was going to say if we draw a Battle Screech, but we still won't have enough creatures for that. So yeah, we should have attacked. It was free. We'd never, I don't think, put the gates into this at this point, kind of this early on. But we are not a million miles off of that. As in, probably starting next turn, we're just going to be gating up to try and get around counterspells. So I think we still discard the Rally the Peasants. Let's get in for 1. See if they decide they want to spend some mana. Okay. Okay. So post-combat, we can see if we Discovery, if they Spell Pierce. So we are going to get the Snacker back, and we turn our hand over. Surprised that they spell-slotted to block there. Maybe they've got a graveyard hate or something, that would make some sense. And then we've got a kind of a tough choice on whether we want to play this land as it pumps up our gate package. Alternatively, we can just discard these 2 because they're both castable from the graveyard. I think when given the opportunity, we should try and Discovery. Maybe this is a post-combat thing though. So if we land pump this, we'll have enough mana to play 1 cat after. That'd be 3, 6, 8. And that seems pretty good. Yeah, it's tempting to try and fit this Discovery through at this point, but equally, if we get in for a big chunk of damage here, it seems like it's going to be quite hard for the opponent to leave up mana to counter in the future. So white on here. We'll pump the Snacker, so if they've got a Snuff out, it doesn't get us as badly. We can attack for 8. And then play the cat from the graveyard. And see what they do. So they didn't even have like a brainstorm to return the Snacker from their graveyard that turn. I remember really liking this deck against kind of control decks because it's just really fun gameplay when you essentially cast everything from your graveyard and it's all little shitters that get pumped by gates. So against blue black, got this Mogi's Favour. I'm trying to make this my new pet card. Go after fairies. I want the Red Blast. Don't think I want. Maybe I want the Thraben Charm. I want Snackers as well. Bolts, alright if they're on Spell Stutters. Prismatic Strands seem kind of weak. Am I going to bring in Mogi's Favour? Is this just too bad? I'm trying to think. I think this is more going to be for mono blue, where there's more 1/1s to pick off. I'm not too interested in just going for well, it's probably just 4 Spell Stutters for Sneaky Snackers that come back anyway. So we've cut 4 Prismatic Strands for 4 Red Blasts, add a Thraben Charm, and cut maybe a Scrapwork Mutt. Haste. The haste with Basilisk Gate's pretty good later on. Maybe just a Lunite Veteran. Although the flying blocker there is pretty good. Oh, they're all good cards. What do you do? Maybe a Discovery. No, Discovery's so good. Gains 2 life, draws 3 cards. I'm going to cut a Veteran, mostly because this is most liable to get, well, these and the cats are most liable to get Spell Stuttered. Actually, I'm going to cut a cat because I'd rather the other side of this than the lifelink guy come back. Obviously, if the opponent's flashing in Spell Stutters to trade with cats, we value the card very differently. But I guess I'm looking at this as if the game goes long, I'm kind of happy. I've got my gate package for inevitability, so let's just try not to get run over. Turn 1 Cliffgate. So there might be more. I wasn't sure if they were on kind of a ninja deck or a blue-black control deck. Maybe they are more ninja-y than I had given them credit for. But I think here I'm going to play the Basilisk Gate. Oh, that meant to be white mana. White 1. We'll play the Raffine's Informant and see what we draw to what we discard. And I'll discard a Scrapbook Mutt. I was going to discard the Mutt most likely, but it's just awkward. When I was playing this deck at first, I ended up cutting these because I found the mana requirements were just so rough. You had so many coloured pips that the mana requirements on the Basilisk Gate, just tapping for colourless, was really hard. And I was more just focused on if I can just play all my cards, they're all good. So I gotta think this is like a bluff. It's either like a Fangs. If we block, I mean they might not have it, but it seems a very bold attack to make without actually having the Fangs. If they do ninja in, again, I don't think I'm aggressive enough that you really want to be on this. So they've got to snuff out for this guy. So we draw a Red Blast. So I'm just going to play my Scrapwork Mutt. And then probably discard the... I want to keep the Bolt. Probably discard the Thraben Charm. Draw a card. I guess I don't have to discard anything. just keep all these. I don't hate it. And then I'll play the Citadel Gate. I'll hold the Boros Garrison in case I draw. So the two choices were I could pick this up so that I've got more choice of coloured pips in my next turn. But my thinking is by picking up the... So I block here if they have a Fangs and they turn this into a 4/3 lifelink. You know, knock yourself out. Yep. I'm kind of fine trading the Fangs for a Mutt. Is more that I think the Informant's more valuable than the Mutters, so I can pop this down. Yeah, and sorry, by keeping this, if we draw a mountain or something, we can have that to pick up and discard later. So I think I just bolt this now. Doesn't seem to be any value in holding off any longer. And then I can play the Boros Garrison. I'll just pick up the Basilisk Gate. No, sorry. Again, the colour mana requirement on this is so awkward. I'll pick up this, so I'm holding up 2 mana in case they, you know, can get a snacker out, and I can Thraben Charm to interrupt. Is that better? No. I've decided. I think I'm very unlikely to Thraben Charm in their turn, so probably holding up the Red Blast is basically as good as holding up 2 mana with the gate. And this gives me an extra untap land in my next turn. Yeah, so I'm back onto the Arm War, a blue-black control deck rather than full-on fairies. See where they have another ninja. They don't attack, so I'm assuming that's not. So I think we lead with the Discovery. If we lead with the Discovery, I think it's more likely to be. I guess I can't spell structure it straight off. It would have to be something we counter a spell stutter that. So why don't we scrapwork Mutt to put the snacker in the bin? It's not doing us any good out here anyway, or in our hand anyway. And then we can play our Basilisk Gate and turn Scrapwork Mutt into essentially what? Draw. This card's dead anyway, so draw a card, Lavarax for 5 mana. Gets a card out of their hand. So they do bog us, which is a bit of a shame. But I guess they only get 2 kind of valuable spells from us there. We don't have any creatures to turn on the Thraben Charms, so I'm just going to roll out the first Discovery. I'm not going to counter this. I'm not going to fight over this. And kind of expose the Red Blast to a snacker. To a sprite, sorry. And then I think we go again with another Discovery just to try and turn our hand around. And it would be discard Thraben Charm on the Plains. I think at that point we can hold off until their turn. How much mana they got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if they've got like a Lorien revealed they're trying to hold up, we might be able to fight over that unless they have a untapped land as well, without being at risk of being blown up. So we are at risk if they go for a Lorien revealed, we try and counter at risk of being blown up by a snacker, by a sprite. Is that a risk we're willing to take? it's a tough one. It would mean that we get to kind of free reign in our turn to start with the discovery. If they don't have a sprite, this is too strong. You know, if on the off chance they don't have a sprite, which yeah, grand. So part of the reasoning, I thought they had it. If they didn't, it was too powerful to let go. So Thrilling Discovery, just try and draw 3. Obviously the 2 cards in our hand aren't doing anything, the 2 lands. We have ourselves a Scaredy Cat. Don't think the Scaredy Cat will be long for this world. They don't have counterspells, they've got to have something. We've been relatively lucky for some of this game not to get bit by the lag bug, but look to be coming back a little. And then 2-4, so I probably will play one of these gates in this turn if given the chance. You can see, you know, we've spent 3 mana and it's all been actual factual coloured pips, which is why I'm a bit wary of the gates. Essentially the only thing they tap for is to activate another gate, and then what? Scrap put mutts. But playing that land gives us double gate in our next turn. I don't think letting them know that we've got double gate is too much of a concern, because I think they are likely to kill the cat anyway. Just hopefully we get to embalm it from the graveyard. So maybe they're flooding out is how they've not got counters, but I still think it's likely there's a removal spell in our very near future. Let's pump once. This kind of catches an Agony Warp, I guess, before we have to invest any more mana. And then I think I play this so that I've got access to embalm it still. It's a shame to play another land. Just attack. See, we could bolt this down, but I don't think we're in the business of trading Red Blast for their creatures. I think we're trying to focus on kind of valuable spells. I assume opponent is just hellishly flooded. So same again. Just gonna, you know, give this plus, what's that, plus 10 power. Turn him sideways, and if they try and kill it, I guess again at this point we've got a slight choice as to whether we play the plains. They kill it before we try and embalm it back. I think given they've 1 card in hand, we do. It means that we can hold up our Red Blast still. And it would mean that we're 1 land away from being able to. So they, I guess, sorry, the embalm is a activated ability. I'm not going to Red Blast this now. The only way I get really punished is if they draw like a Ninja of the D-Powers straight off. Instead we get paid off for keeping that back. I used to absolutely hate Murmuring Mystic when I was playing this deck more often. Now that opponent is top decking, I think we probably are more in the business of Thraben Charming this down, so we can get in for 10. And then if they don't draw a creature, they're dead next turn to Sacred Cat with our land. They do draw a creature, they're jump blocking. So yeah, obviously we got quite fortunate that they, well, I guess they only drew 8 lands and we drew 8 lands, 9, 10. Yeah, opponent didn't even get unlucky. Look at them. Right, on to round 2. Opponent is back, has chosen to play, and then mulligan. I'm going to keep. It's got a bit of interaction. A few creatures and no strands. Got our lands under us. Bridge, so either Madness or Affinity. And see what I mean if we're playing against, say, a mono red deck. We've got 3 really good cards for the matchup, but we're only playing, so it looks like Madness. Only playing 1 on turn 1, this on turn 1, sorry, on turn 2. Then another tap land and the other veteran on turn 2, on turn 3. But hopefully the bolt's pretty good here. We go after a kitchen imp or something. Yep, this gets bolted down, so our turn's probably going to be Lunar Veteran. Disturb this. Not interested in bolting this. Lunar Veteran, flashback. So Lunar Veteran and Raffine's Informant feels slightly better, so we'll leave with that instead. And then we can put a Prismatic Strand straight in the bin over the Rally the Peasants. Just to give them something more to have to think about. The Strands is slightly better to keep in our hand than the Rally, but it's also much better to have in the graveyard. So we're still on for Lunar Veteran, now Sacred Cat next turn, then pick up the Mountain with the Garrison. Annoying that we can't auto yield. But again, I'm not really fussed about them killing either of these creatures. Definitely not fussed about that. So I think we cat. thinking about whether we just attack with this into the Epicure. I kind of want to get rid of the Epicure because we've got the Rally the Peasants in our hand, and with us being, this will put us up to 19 life, 20 when this dies. I'm not really worried about getting burnt out, so I'm kind of happy. Just, I know it looks quite odd, but just trading this for their 1/1. Got to imagine they snap trade in a heartbeat, but they stay back. I'm surprised. So one snack to the bin. So opponent bolts here. I think I'm going to strand this just to have the guy in play with an extra guy in play with the rally. Again, they appear to be caught up on mana, so I can play a bit more aggressively. So we'll prevent all red damage. Then our turn is probably just going to be bolt this to clear the path. Then rally, smash. We can now auto yield. A true value in getting the prismatic strand, using the prismatic strands out of our graveyard. Being able to go back to auto yielding. So according to my maths, we bolt this, rally, bolt them. They should be dead. 3, 6, 9, 12. Oh no, the one shot. So bolt this down. Just checking this isn't Trumpet Blast with attacking creatures. Get the F6 value. Yep. So Rakdos Madness, I mean they tend to play a lot of artifact lands, so we can think about bringing this in. Or the Ancient Grudge, but these don't hit bridges. Is there anything else I'm really interested in? Not really. We could Thraben Charm and go after, try and go after their sneaky snackers. We've already got 2 in the main deck. I'd probably cut the Scrapwork Mutts as my first choice, kind of weakest card. But again, it's kind of another one of the kind of a role player effect. Don't really want to cut too many of them. And just try and scroll back up into the land. So it was Drossforge Bridge and a Vault of Whispers that was kind of sat on. I'm always of 2 minds with something like a Dust to Dust. Obviously, when it's great, it's great. But if I bring it in and they just happen to draw some Jagged Barrens and Swamps, it can be really unfortunate. I guess that's where in this deck in particular, where we're still going to have 4, 8 discard outlets. We can kind of get away without. I might just stay on the draw. I'll stay with this. On the play, we might think about bringing the dust to dust, just because then you can, really bury them. If they start playing creatures to the board and we have a dust to dust on turn 3, it might not be as impactful as we'd like. I'm going to keep this out. So it's an awkward hand in that the Screechers aren't necessarily going to do a lot, but we can interact with a Kitchen Imp and gain some life, kind of turn our hand over. So I'm going to keep. Let's see whether they're on a hand that a Dust to Dust would be good against. See when they lead with a Barons, it's kind of a safe start for them. Sequencing wise, if you're playing the Rakdos deck, I think you have to bear that in mind. So it would be turned on because we could always have go after some blood tokens, but you'd obviously rather not. So we hold up Bolt and then really, almost relying on hitting something off of this. And then that kind of makes our hand line up quite well. If they'd have been on a, if they'd have discarded Arms of the Bane or a Fiery Temper, we wouldn't have been able to do anything with our mana. So, red-white, Thrilling Discovery, I'm going to discard one of the Screechers in a rally. I'm going to play the Cliffgate, having the Raffine's Informant. Don't have enough mana for the Raffine's Informant, sorry, this turn. And then it's probably going to be starting to Screech in our next turn. Would be nice to hit some kind of life gain effects, as we're at the slightly risky area if they can just start burning us out. 5 cards could easily add up to 16. Next up will be on Screech. Yeah, I think we're on Screech. It's unfortunate they'll be able to nab 2 from our graveyard with the Spell Bomb. But I feel like we have to make a blocker here. So they clear the path, draw a card, and we'll be seeing if they can get 9 damage out of 2 lands and a land drop. So we survive the turn. But we'll need to draw something to gain some life back. I guess ideal is we draw a is it Lunite Veteran? Strands is okay. So we lead on a Rafine's Informant, discard the Snacker. Play a Basilisk Gate. And then we can Prismatic Strands black to hold these back. Perhaps they bolted some response, otherwise we've got strands on red as well. I guess ideally they just start out by bolting us. And we can strands on red early. Let them declare attacks. We'll go for the strands. See if we die. Doesn't seem like it. So we can prevent all damage from these two. And we're hoping to draw Lunite Veteran, gain 4 life, help come up the board. I think I let this go. Obviously it's a bit of a shame we dropped down to 6. I can't afford to let the Galblast go. So we've not gotten there. We can play the Screech. If we flashback Screech, we're kind of on the hook to bolt this. Isn't the end of the world. Probably the worst thing is we're kind of using up a lot of our enter the battlefield triggers for Lunite Veteran if we were to draw it. And don't think playing the gate will do much to change the next turn. So you can pass back. Gotta imagine we're dead. It's 2 lands, so not dead yet. And they've already drawn their cards, so the Snacker's not coming back. So let's go block, prevent as much damage as we can. We can bolt down the Kitchen Imp. effects. One Faithless looting in the graveyard, so it might be worth Thraben charming them to prevent the Snacker coming back. Depends on what we draw. And that'll do it. So I think I'm going to board out the Snackers for the Dust to Dusts. Not liking the, almost inconsistency on these, and then have the ability to kind of bury them. We can get a Dust to Dust on turn, obviously on turn 3. On the play is pretty strong. I don't think I like any of the other cards or the other Thraben Charm. So I had a bit of a bug joining into the game, but we're on the play. We would like to play first. We will keep this. We'll on course to gain quite a lot of life. The Raffine's Informant could reveal another land. So we need to be aware of and the festivities that we saw in game 2. Kind of leans towards pitching the Prismatic Strands for the Raffine's Informant. Slightly less explosive than pitching the Battle Screech, but and the second Strands is pretty nice. Opponent's on a hand where Dust to Dust is going to struggle to do anything. Again, we've got a few discard outlets that can, still cycle through the card if it is dead. And the risk reward on occasionally just getting them is, I think, high enough. I don't think I'd bring it in if I was playing straight up White Weenie, but we can start with another Lunite Veteran. So we're gaining a lot of life. Discard the bolt. Can't cast it. And attack for 3. So at least at the minute, I think we're probably quite likely to just hold up 3 mana to Prismatic Strands next turn. Just kind of, we're a bit ahead on board, so play to that edge. So if they're going to try and Fiery Temper Raffine's Informant down, I think we stop it and then hold up the Strands. We'll keep this hand, match 3 on the draw. We're facing down like a red deck, we've got quite a lot of life gain effects. If we're facing down, I don't know, a Brood Scale, we might be in some more trouble. See what they're on. So we might be up against another Rakdos Madness for the Jagged Barons. And knowing that, what do we want to play? Let's see what we draw first. Got a choice of, playing for our second turn or just having our first and second turns be Lunar Veteran, Scaredy Cat. I think I'm just going to play Lunar Veteran into Scaredy Cat. I guess this might entice him into interacting with our, bolting down our board rather than going for our face. And with the veteran kind of life gain effect, it's a bit of value that we might otherwise miss if we'd lead on. Interesting Bloodfell Caves. Don't know what this is. So let's attack, see if they just kill our guy. If they're going to kill our guy, they might kill a guy in response to another creature. So you might as well get our point of damage in first. Offset their Bloodfell Caves. And then why not play another Lunite Veteran? They are trying to kind of burn us out. 2 life for every creature is an awful lot. Not seen these lands in quite a long time, so it might just be a Rakdos burn that's on a slightly unorthodox list. I'd probably normally lean on Scrapbook Mutt, but if we play Raffine's Informant and mill over a Battle Screech, we can play it, which we couldn't do with Mutt because we need 3 untapped white creatures. Otherwise, we're discarding the Snacker. Easy discard Snacker. Keeping our life total nice and high. Hadn't realised I missed a 3rd land drop. See what this is going to be. Got a bolt to cover a Kitchen Imp. If they attack, we probably won't even need it. Just keep taking, because we're a bit to quarter half a mana as well. I'd rather just keep playing to the board and taking 2, offsetting, offset the damage we deal with gaining some life and playing creatures. So this is interesting because the Thrilling Discovery does bring back the Snacker straight away. So if I discard Raven Charm and a Scrapbook Mutt, it also gives us a shot at drawing a land. So yes to this, discard these two. We do hit a land and do want to play Plains for a Scaredy Cat or a Citadel Gate. I think the Citadel Gate to open up 2 red pips next turn. That can be Flashback Mutt, bolt this or something. Pick red. Get in for 5. On a bit of a lag spike right now, so we can auto yield, attack with everybody. Smoosh. Expect they'll take out the Raffine's Informant. Yep. So that's kind of, I guess, an ideal case for us where they're not bolting our face, we're still gaining life, and they're fighting over our creatures. And the point of this deck is just have a non-stop stream of crappy creatures. So I think I'll probably unearth the Scrapwork Mutt, discard a Scrapwork Mutt. And draw a card. And then hitting 2 cats, do we just play both? It's kind of tempting to keep Raffine's Informant, Scrapbook Mutt around because it's 2 draw triggers for the Snacker. I might just play 1 cat and then bolt down this. Opponent discards a Sneaky Snacker. Epicures us down to 19. We kill the Kitchen Imp. Screech is great. This is a whole bunch of life. Leave up all my flying blockers. And attack with a Snacker. So they're on 2 Snackers now. So they will, be able to do a lot of blocking and loop them round. We've used one of our main deck Raven Charms. So do we want to Fiend's Informant pre-combat and see what we hit? think now that we've got the thrilling discovery, for the snacker, we can afford to. Then our plan might just be making a nice wide board and waiting till we draw a Rally the Peasants. So I'll discard the scrapbook mutt. And we've kind of got a choice as to whether we want. So scrapbook mutt means we've got 2 creatures. We can discard or 2 ways to draw for the snacker. So we can kind of afford to thrilling discovery, pitch these 2. It's a shame to lose a bolt. That could go after a kitchen imp, but I would like to draw some action or a gate, for example. And then discarding a scaredy cat, we still get some value. So we hit Rally the Peasants. I'll play a land, or return the scaredy cat. No attacks. Then next turn we will be trying to finish them off. Let's see what they can do. So I'm assuming this is them trying to be off of artifact lands, so we don't, make the mistake of boarding in dust to dust. You get the nice easy draw 2 with the sneaky snacker, but it does bring it back tapped, which, considering we're hoping to alpha this turn, isn't the end of the world for us. They gain 3 life. And then we'll be returning a scrapwork mutt and rallying them. Have a 3rd snacker. I know, just another dispute. So maybe they are digging to something. They might haven't ended the festivities and feel that they're in some trouble. And you discard the hand size. So white, red, scrapbook mutt, discard the snacker. Send the team. And rally. So against again Rakdos, but this time not on artifact lands. Just don't think we want Mogi's Favor. Maybe we can bring in a Thraben Charm. I don't think we're after any of these. So maybe a Thraben Charm and cut a snacker again. I feel like in a quick game, if I'm more worried about their kind of quick draws, at which point the snacker's bad. in a long game I've got enough of the other stuff going on. I don't need to rely on the snacker. And then again, they might have spell bombs or something that can interact favorably with this. So let's give this a go. So the thrilling discovery and the Basilisk Gate are quite awkward. I think I can keep, because I can scrap Bookmut, pitch one of these and draw another. It's not a great hand. Pick red, white. I think we might be moved on to discarding a Rally the Peasants over the Strands. Maybe. Guess again it depends on what we draw. Drawing a Plains, I'm now tempted to just Discovery. Kind of want to turn my hand around quicker than Discovery, pitch these two. So I want to turn my hand around quicker rather than take the time with Scrapbook Mutt. This works out alright, so we can play a Lunart Veteran next turn, bolt down a creature, and then the turn after we can Battle Screech. We play this next turn, this on turn 4. Then playing the Veteran into holding up the Strands. So Veteran, another red-white duel, pass back. Not interested in interacting with the Epicure. Wasn't expecting a Scorpion. Play the Screech. So by bolting this now, they turn off our being able to flash it back this turn. I think I'm still just going to keep my guy alive, gain 2 extra life. So prevent all red damage. If they've got a end the festivities, so be it. But I'm gonna kind of block quite rapidly here. We've already got our kind of we already get some value out of the Lunark. We don't need to be too greedy. I think I'm probably going to do scrapbook mutt things to put the snacker into play. This way we're still progressing our board, maybe gaining some life with this. But we're holding back the Battle Screech to be able to kind of rebuild in one fell swoop. So discard snacker. Because we've got the gate, I'm probably going to play this rather. Sorry. Because we've got the Basilisk Gate, I'm probably going to use the gate and discard the Plains. The alternative would be holding up the bolt, but I don't think we need to. So discard Plains, draw again. Return the snacker, play a Cliff Gate, and pick white. And we attack back for 2. Again, big board of 1 toughness creatures. Wouldn't be surprised if they end the festivities or something. They look like they're on a bit of an awkward hand. So they go to our face with the Fiery Temper. So we can attack and rally. It's not lethal, but it gets a lot of damage in. The alternative is play the Raffine's Inform. Well, I guess the alternative is to do the Screeching. We've seen they don't have it this turn or that last turn, or they would have definitely used it. So why not go for a Screech? There was a point where they discarded a Fiery Temper for it was their last card in hand, and then drew. So they will have 2 shots at drawing. They will have 2 shots at drawing a sweeper, but unless they hit it, this way they are in a lot of trouble. And even if they do, we'd be able to Mutt and Raffine's Informant, get back the Snacker. That's 2 4-mana, so we're able to get back the Veteran as well. And we get there. On the play in round 4, on the weaker end of hands, I'm going to keep. Have all our lands, have some interaction in the bolt. The Prismatic Strands can be very good. Green, red. Not quite sure what to make of this yet. I think it's most likely a Brood Scale deck. They sometimes seem to be running a couple of gates to just kind of help the mana along and get them off of bridges. They're definitely Jund. So opponent can Wellspring. I think we're probably discovering to turn our hand around. Yep, drawing another Lunar Veteran doesn't change that. So Thrilling Discovery. Yes. I think I discard these 2. Just playing a Lunar Veteran as a 1/1 isn't really what I want to do in this matchup. Not a great time to draw the Snacker. So Cliffgate tapped. And this allows for flashing back the Lunar Veteran so that we've got a flying attacker we can gate up. So white, red, Lunar Veteran. I guess a choice on whether we play this Lunar Veteran from hand or just hold up the bolt. I guess with the rally there is some value in having it in play. So we're being quite aggressive on tapping out up till quite aggressive on tapping out up till now. Obviously they could form the combo. Or just have a Chrysalis. Now we can play the gate, start pumping our flying attacker. So +6/+6. Kind of tempting to find a way to get some of these veterans into the graveyard. We have a Nightblade. If we get the chance, I'm not against trying to bolt down the Nightblade. Obviously, it's getting quite a lot of life at this point. We've got enough chump blockers that I almost don't mind them having. I know, I guess we do need to attack through this in the air. So we do mind if this is infinitely powered because our air attack would no longer be good enough. So maybe we do have to hold up our bolt. 2 bolts is better than 1. Let's get back to pumping in the air. Attack with our 6/6. Opponent looks to be going down to 7. Sideboard for this matchup, so we've got 2 Standard Bearers and a Thraben Charm and a Dream. Don't think we want the grudges if they're on. Grudges try and pick off like 1 or 2 Volta Whispers. So another Nightblade, they do add up. Not worried about these ganging up to kind of kill me, so I'll hold up the 2 bolts to try and disrupt the combo. If they attack, we can attack and rally. So these can turn into some real damage. Otherwise, you guessed it, we're pumping our flying attacker and getting in. Good to have a plan. Second gate is a heater. So if we pump twice and they block, we're only holding up one bolt. If we pump, so if we attack, they don't block. We go to 1, 3, 5. So a deadly dispute could gain them 6 life. So I think we let them know about the gate. And we pump. I don't think that we need to double pump. Because I think this is enough to force them to block already. Like, it's not technically in that they can. This is going to be up to 7 power. They could gain up to 4, but then with the bolts in our hand, that seems a bit risky for them. I guess they don't know about the bolts. Yeah, as I say, I believe this means they're going to block anyway. And if they're going to block anyway, I would rather have extra mana up. So we get a Tamio Safekeeping out of their hand. Obviously this buys them another turn, but it means that our bolts are more likely to be able to disrupt the combo. And then it's a bit tricky for them to cast a Disputing or Eviscerator's Insight in their sacking the treasure. Maybe I should have attacked with this just to get it into the graveyard. Yeah, I think I should have, but essentially at that point we could have 2 flying attackers on our next turn. Or they'd have to take 1, every little helps. I definitely want to leave 1 back so that if they do turn this into an infinite power creature, we've got a, well, I guess if they're doing that, their Nightblades kill us. Yeah. I think that's just a miss on my end. Should have attacked with the Lunite Veterans. Malevolent Rumble into another Chrysalis. So that's quite awkward in that these guys will now be huge. Not expecting them to decide to attack. So 4, 8, 10, 13. If let's put all their spawns in, I think they get to kill ours and we get to kill 1 Chrysalis. Is that right? So yeah, 4. So 4 power on each. So a 7, 4, and sorry, a 7, 8, and a 6, 7. And we'll be up to 13. So we're only killing 1. So I think I'm going to start on a Raffine's Informant instead. I hit a gate, the attack becomes live again. We hit a Battle Screech. I'm still tempted to discard. It's a tricky one. So if I cast a Screech, I'm only holding up one bolt. I can discard the Screech, then we'd have 3 flying attackers, which with double rally would, so 3 flying attackers, block, yeah. So discard the Snacker. So Scene 1, Tamio Safekeeping. The hand would have to be essentially Safekeeping, and the combo. I think I'm just going to attack with the Lunarch Veteran, just to try and flip this. Attack with both, just to try and flip these into flying creatures. Opponent's on track to deal 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 damage from the Nightblades. So we gain 1 from our creature dying. We'll gain 1 from playing it back again. If the Chrysalite attack, they're out of flying blockers. But yeah, I think we have to kind of shift from trying to kill them with a, unless we draw a gate next turn, we're kind of shifting from trying to kill them with a Basilisk Gates on the Phantoms. Instead move to Battle Screeching. Going to auto yield these. We do have a Prismatic Strands in the graveyard, but I don't think they're going to do anything that will make that matter. So they can have one of these be incredibly large. Can't interact with that. And just be on jumping duty. So I can put another Lunarch Veteran in front of that. They duress. They're going to see some bolts. I wonder if what they take. It's likely a bolt, but I could see it being either of, well, any of the cards, to be honest. Either of the others, depending on what they have in hand. They take a bolt, so if they've got a brood scale glee, and I know they're just going big chrysalis. No attacks. Yeah, another Lunite veteran. So we can play this, play the Screech. Flashback Screech. Flashback using the Phantoms. So here again, we've only got one bolt to interact if they do have the actual brood scale combo. We've gained a bunch of life to hopefully put us out of, a kind of hard ways of Eldrazi spawn sacking. And we've got jumps for days. So I think this is where we are, hoping that we can hold, and then in our next turn get a big attack. They've used 2 of their glees already. Brood scale here, not glee. Well, I think they very likely have it. Yep. Well, I'm not really sure what we kind of could have done different in that game. There's a few spots we could have tried to be aggressive a turn earlier with the there's a few spots we could have chosen to be aggressive a turn earlier with the Battle Screech, but at that point we had 2 bolts that I think we definitely want to hold them up. It's a tough situation here. We're at 3-0 into match 4. Opponent has us dead, but boy, they got some clicking to do on a laggy interface. I'm kind of a believer in, if you're going to choose to play a combo deck, you have to be able to click through it. We're all playing the same. Sometimes I time out, sometimes opponents time out. So they've got the 2 Night Blades, so they do add up damage quite quickly. No, I'll stop recording now. So sideboarding, we've got Thraben Charm, isn't great removal, and 2 Standard Bearers to bring in. And then in terms of what we cut, again I've got my own, the Sneaky Snackers, and Prismatic Strands. Prismatic Strands is good if we're having to go wide. Maybe 2 Snackers and a Strands. And let's so this doesn't work against the this doesn't work against Tamio's safekeeping because that's indestructible rather than protection. So it's not the greatest hand. We've got a standard bearer, we've got a few creatures, and we've got a Basilisk Gate to punch through some damage. So we'll keep. Don't have a way to discard the Snacker yet. I think we'll lead on the Sacred Cat, because if we can discard this to flip it into a flyer, that'd be better for us. Having drawn the Raffine's Informant, I'm going to lead with that instead. A bit better beats, and we can discard the Snacker. Rumble reveals the Brood Scale. So we've got a choice as to whether we want to play Scared for the turn 3 Brood Scale combo. We're playing the Standard Bearer. I guess the advantage as well of holding back the Raffine's Informant is if we draw another Informant or a Scrapwork Mutt, we could bring back the Snacker. So although it's a bit cowardly, we'll play the Standard Bearer, play the Citadel Gate. Name red again. Opponent's got a Chrysalis. So we can play a Raffine's Informant. See what we draw. Draw another Basilisk Gate, so I'm going to discard the Lunar Veteran so we can make a flying attacker and get over some of these Eldrazi spawn tokens. And then we've got the Basilisk Gate to push in for some damage. Can't attack through the Chrysalis anymore on the ground. Slightly worried the opponent's choosing to leave red mana open. This is like a breath weapon. So we draw a rally, which means we can punch through the Chrysalis. So again, leaving a red mana open smells of strongly a breath weapon. And then the Phantom doesn't get pumped big enough anyway. But I will attack like this. No blocks. If we choose to rally, reduced rally means we can't play the both cats next turn. The difference is 4 damage. I think the chance of them not casting it is low enough. Now I think I'm annoyingly on the hook to play my cats, trying to go wide. I think if they breath weapon our board, we're probably not going to catch up anyway. They don't have it, which is a bit of a shame in that case. Opponent saying so laggy, so I'm back to thinking they might have it. If they did, maybe they'd. If they did, it doesn't really make sense they'd play it after playing a County Garden. Opponent's got a whole bunch of mana up. We play the gates. If we try to pump the standard bearer, they can respond with a breath weapon. That's what they have. We can try and pump. They've got 4 blockers, so we'd only get in for 10 damage. They essentially block up. So I think I prefer trying to pump. Which resolves. This is a 6/6. Do I want to use the rally for the rest of the creatures, or do I want to pump again on the floor? I think I want to use the rally. Get in for 9. Okay, so the opponent saying so laggy is because they missed a chance to draw earlier on. Opponent goes down to 2. Need to kill this if they want to combo. They have got 10 cards in hand to do it with. They are tapping their black and green mana, then I think they're now out of pips. So we get there. So let's run this back. We've not seen any sweeper, that means we want the strands back in the deck. Got some interaction, got a standard bearer, got a gate. I'm going to keep. Can lead on Sacred Cat. I think I'm going to play standard bearer this turn. Attack for 1. It's a bit of an awkward hand where I want to maximise the number of gates I have in play. Opponent tapped a red mana, then untapped it. So I want to maximise the number of gates I have in play for the Basilisk Gate effect. But now I also kind of want to keep up with Prismatic Strands, but those strands isn't working to snuff out. I think I'm happy playing this on red-white. We can hold up a pretty measly Thraben Charm. the Chrysalis. So if we play the cat, then we can Thraben Charm down the Chrysalis. And keep attacking. This does lose to a Snuff Out. Or at least if they Snuff Out, we'll have to play the land and bolt it as well if you want to finish it off, which isn't great. They don't have the Snuff Out, which is obviously good news. Based on that, I'm not going to prioritise holding up the bolt. I do have another Chrysalis, so attacking through is looking pretty tough. How do we want to go about this then? So we can go up to 4 power on a cat. They can go up to 7 toughness, so trading a cat and a bolt for the Chrysalis to allow us to keep attacking in. I'm very far away from loving it. I forgot to pump before I went to beginning of combat. Obviously, they can have a Tameo safekeeping, so keeping a bolt back doesn't necessarily help us as much as it could. But this way we get to hold up prismatic strands. Opponent is thinning out their board a little bit. They have a Nightblade. I'm quite tempted to go after the Nightblade. I guess if we do, it stops them from stops us from being able to get through the Chrysalis. So I'm back off of that. What does another gate do? Apart from make me wish I played my land last turn. So white 1, pump the cat. Make an attack. See if they block with the Chrysalis. They do. See whether they sack to put another counter on it. They do. So with a choice now is if we bolt this, they can still Tameo safekeeping to keep their guy alive. So we get back a cat. And I'm going to bolt, and we're kind of relying on the standard bearer to be our shields. Yeah, they do have the safekeeping. Yeah, that's just about the worst outcome. They managed to convince me they weren't playing this, and so we let the shields down for the prismatic strands, and that is game. I know, they don't have a full combo yet. So start with Scrapwork pitching the mountain. Play the Lunar Veteran. Play a Scaredy Cat. And then I'll leave the land in hand. Adapt for another counter. Have another Breath Weapon. Really not playing the Prismatic Strands very well. So we take 10 this turn. We get to make some flying blockers. Unfortunately, all their creatures are devoid. I wonder if maybe they're not on maybe if they're not on wildfires because they're not on bridges, they're not on snuff outs. I could see that making sense that they're on breath weapons over snuff outs, but I'm sure we saw one in game 1. And they just snuff out like the 3-2. So on the play in round 5, like mulligan this hand. We'll keep this one. It's not the best, but we'll put back one of our planes. Turn 1 cat. If we're against red, good luck us. If we're against I don't know, Poison Storm again, we would be in a lot of trouble. So is this going to be like Slivers or something? Don't know how I feel about our Sliver matchup. I'll attack in, expecting this is going to get pumped up soon. So I guess if it is Slivers, the standard bearers and the like aren't going to be any good. Could potentially see the Ancient Grudges. And Thraben Charms have got some bolts, and we'll just have to try and race them in the air. I've heard of worse plans. You've got Prismatic Strands to slow them down a lot. And quite a lot of jump blockers. Yep. So I think I'm going to lead on the Mutt, discard planes. I'll play the Citadel Gate out first. Then no block, no attacks. And we're going to be waiting to see how many more Sliver Lords they have. And I guess guess the other important thing is how many different colours of slivers they will have. Whether the opponent is in the tank or gone to get the door or something, I don't know. We can auto yield through their turn and wait for them to come back. So they do have a white source, and they fill up the board with some smaller bodies. Shame we don't get to block. So a choice now as to whether we want to mutt and say discard a strands. So strands on green's alright, but obviously they've got a lot of non-green creatures. If we do that, we can't basiliskate our sacred cat. If we do cat, we don't really have any good attacks. I think I'm gonna scrapbook mutt, pitch the strands, and see what we can draw. So a screech is pretty nice. So again, we're on quite a slow draw ourselves here. Our block if given the chance. We need to keep our sacred cat alive so that we can flash back the Battle Screech. And then after that we'll just be giving Sacred Cat's lifelink and trying to attack, gain as much life as we can that way. Let's see what they do. Love no attacks from them. Also love drawing the Thraben Charm there. For what it's worth, I will leave up the red mana. So the Thraben Charm, having some removal to interact with the Muscle Sliver could be great. Potentially I should be attacking with the Mutts if we're now on a beatdown plan, but I'm just wary of if we attack then they get to potentially crack back for a lot more. They're showing they don't want to trade a Mutt for a Sliver. I want to attack, then they attack into our flyers. Speaking of flyers, so I think I like pumping the cat and then holding up Thraben Charm. So now that their creatures have flying, I think we're going to attack with some Mutts. only catch is if I can Fraben Charm this down and that we get them to tap with that. With the Muscle Sliver, could be very good for us. We just get in for 8. Gain 4 life. So a second Muscle Sliver, all their creatures are 3 power. No attacks again. I think I'm going to take the opportunity to shoot down. I still think the Muscle Sliver and make all their flyers smaller. I'm not quite sure what their cards in hand might be. My thinking here is that killing this lets me attack with the mutts. They're not a huge life total, whereas killing the flyer, they're still ahead of us. So we can scrapwork mutt and pitch the discovery before we do anything else. See what we draw. We draw a lightning bolt, so we could bolt this down as well. If we do, we lose the opportunity to pump the cat. I think I'm going to pump the cat. Attack with the mutts. Leave back the bird tokens. I guess my thinking is I don't really know what they have in their hand. So I don't want to be, if I'd be bolting, I'd be bolting this before declaring attackers, so that I don't get signed into an attack that I don't want to. That I don't want. And then if we're trading mutts, if this goes through and we're trading mutts for slivers, I'm pretty happy with that outcome. So we get that. Feel like opponent just flooded out a bit too much for themselves there. They definitely could have played more aggressively. Whether or not it would have been the right thing for them to do is tricky. So we've seen Wing Sliver, they're probably on Gem Hide. And then we saw 8 one toughness. So there are a lot of small slivers that this could help pick off. But obviously, once they get, as soon as they have one of the lords, it becomes dead. I like Sneaky Snacker as a way of getting in through flying. Prismatic Strand is a bit weak though on all artifacts. I probably will just pitch a discarded Snacker. Just maximise the number of spot removal spells we have. Another hand we have to mulligan. So this is a tricky one. Mulliganing down to 5 is very rough. So I'm going to keep and just basically have my 2 outs to draw a land. I think mulliganing to 5 like with our deck against theirs isn't going to go our way. So we'll keep. We're going to be thrilling discovering. So I want to keep cards that I can discard for value. So I'll put back the other discovery. So I just don't believe in the win probability from a multi 5, so I'd rather have the shots at getting there on a one lander. Not a land, but a bolt is a useful card for the matchup. It's a mana fixer. Not seen this card before. So we do get a land, which is obviously great. We could leave up bolt, but I think we want to be just getting something onto the board. See if they have a lord, their damage adds up quite quickly. If they don't have a lord, I'm probably interested in just blocking. Their creatures are going to outquality ours pretty quickly. I'm going to try and get in combat here. No, they kind of, I guess, wisely come off of that. So a choice here, do we play Raffine's Informant or Thrilling Discovery? Discovery gives us more shots at drawing a land. Raffine's puts us closer to Battle Screeching by having more creatures in play. I think I'm going to Discovery pitch these two to try and find a third land. We do, but we don't have anything to play this turn. But I guess next time we can play an Informant and hold up a bolt. If we draw a cat or the like, we have that. They Fairy Macabre away. Okay. So that will protect all of their slivers, but hopefully we'll be able to Thraben Charm it down. If we're relying on Thraben Charm, I no longer want to block. So let's lead with Raffine's Informant. Gonna discard the cat and only play it. Essentially only get one side of it. But obviously that lets us keep our keep the mutt in hand. What's this going to be then? And started tapping a lot of mana. Winged Sliver. So I think we're going to more or less definitely be bolting this down. Oh, sorry, Thraben Charming this down. Nice to hit another land. Let's just try and kill this now. choice as to holding up bolts or Thraben Charm, or playing the Mutts. I think I'll hold the Mutts, try and discard something for value. So we can attack. Is there any creature I want to leave back here? I mean, we can leave our 3/2 back if we want to try and bolt this down, but I guess based on the board at the minute, I'm less concerned about them, their creatures having flying, than maybe I am about having their lords, and we've got the first 2 or 3 lords covered. Bit of lag again here. As we expect, no blocks. Let's yield through. Opponent's got 1 card in hand. I'm kind of imagining that they're on Winding Ways and Lead the Stampedes, but we've not seen any yet. Again, interfaces being quite laggy. And it says it's in their turn, but obviously the main board's not caught up. They do have a Winding Way. Let's hope this doesn't hit too well. So it hits 4 slivers, 2 lords. That does count as hitting too well, unfortunately. It's not what we want to see. So they play a lord. I think I'm probably going to Thraben Charm this down. We'll wait to see if they choose to attack. Then reason I'll Thraben Charm this is mana kind of flexibility for next turn. So we can Scrapbook Mutt, discard the planes. Strands is fine. Again, we attack for 5. So we're going to bolt the Muscle Sliver. I'm probably going to let these other ones be. I'm just trying to weigh up whether it's worth bolting this down so we can block, just so that we can unearth this. I don't think it is. We're up to 7 power now, so they're kind of priced into blocking on their next turn. Oh, sorry, if they don't block in their next turn, so they don't know about the bolt, but then we would be happy with the outcome. So gate, will I play that yet? I think we can definitely start with attacking. And again, I think we attack with everybody. Leaving the Raffine's Informant back is too suspicious. Hopefully they don't block, but they do. can't prismatic strands on colourless. Opponent goes to 6. I think I do play the gate because I've got the strands I can discard for value. If that comes up first, and then this, gives us best odds if we have a best outcome if we draw a Basilisk Gate or a way to start discarding here. Potentially being able to string a few spells together. So we know they're a Universal Automaton, then what they do for the last two turns. Based on the fact they spent 2 mana playing another mascot, I think it's unlikely it's another kind of Lord or particularly good spell. So I'm kind of hopeful. Obviously, based on how this played out, if we'd have had this Mogi's card, you can imagine it'd be great. Pick off all of these, got all these non-value cards in the graveyard. What's this going to be? Hoping it's not another Coalition Honor Guard. That'd be quite rough. Just a huge butt. 2 automatons are fine. Looks like opponent's going to be planning to do some blocking. I think we just take 5 here. We'll be gaining at least 1, and then we've got their first Lord covered. I think we attack with the team, see how they block. I'm assuming they don't block this. Go to 4. They don't block this. That's fine. So I'm going to play the veteran, holding up strands, and then for our next turn we can unearth this. I think the extra 2-power attacker is better than just basically cycling it a turn early. So this is the Honor Guard. We've used 2 of our Thraben Charms, we're unlikely to draw the 3rd. So this is our kind of last chance to get the bolt out of our hand productively. I mean, we could bolt this down, but that seems pretty sad. So I think I'm probably tempted to bolt down the Winged Sliver rather than go to face. And then if we can flip both of these, we'll be the only one, we'll have flyers. Flying in for damage is pretty good. So looking for an opportunity to block. We get some value from the scrapbook map. You see this turns off our gates. The screech is nice. Makes sense for cards they could have, but it would be nice if we would have been able to flash this back. I think that means that I will attack, essentially get him for 2 and flip this over. Is that better than having an extra 4 life from the Battle Screech? Probably not, right? It's got to be better to have the Battle Screech. We'd lose a life that we'd... No, I think I'd rather attack. So we're giving up the kind of value on Battle Screech into the battlefield trigger, but we do gain one of those life back this turn when this would leave the battlefield. There's a potential they just block here to prevent the damage. That would surprise me a bit. But again, if we can flip this over, get a flying attacker. Opponent's deciding where to block, or battling with the laggy interface. Who knows? So they do block here. They go to 3. We get to flip this. So what's an example of the card? Now Rally the Peasants would, based on this block, be set up for lethal. It can't have a third Very Macabre. So we gain a life back. They do have a Lord, so that's quite rough. We take 4 down to 5. Sorry, 6 down to 3. We're not going to be able to strands and flashback, but from 3 they go down to 2. We'll have 4 blockers, but that means we don't get to attack. Let's see how it plays out. See what we draw. Cliffgate's not amazing. What we basically block up, and then we get another turn to draw a whatever the card's called, Rally the Peasants. Oh no, because sorry, we're tapping most of our Battle Screech blockers. So we only have 2 blockers left, so we block for 4, take 6, and die. Oh, let's make them attack. Has another Lord, which will certainly do it. So, sideboarding. Is there anything we want to do differently if they're on honor guards? Very Macabres. I don't think the Sneaky Snacker is really doing a lot for us anyway. I think having seen they're on so many artifacts, I will board in the Ancient Grudges. Probably even just cut more snackers for them. I'll cut some some prismatic strands. I think they're pretty weak in this matchup. I guess they do get better though if we are ancient grudging all of their artifacts. Something like this split looks alright to me. And we're on the play. Let's hope we get there. So we kept a kind of greedy one land. Oh, say greedy one lander. We kept a one lander to avoid mulling 5. And I got that last time. See what we do this. So we can, again, it's a slow hand. It's be turn 3, play a scramble up, discard a snacker. But we've got 2 bolts to interact with our lords, so I'm going to keep. So trying to play our Citadel Gate. Untapped land would be appreciated, but we don't get there. So garrison, and we are on a pretty slow start. First Sliver Lord. I'm going to play the Mutt over the Snacker because this can discard, this can draw and discard, so it gives us a bit more options. Play the gate, name red. Both of these being 3/3s, I think the bolt's going to be called into action. It's slightly frustrating in that if we could mutt an informant to get back to Snacker, but if we obviously by doing so, if they have another lord, these become 4 toughness, and that's a problem if they have the honor guard. But alternatively, if we do double bolt, we can play out one of these 2. But the second one, we can't link the 2 doors together, so we don't get the Snacker back, or we might not for the rest of the game. Because we've drawn the mountain, I'm going to lead for the Rafine's Informant. Discard planes. Play a mountain, and let's start by trying to bolt down this. We'll attack with the Mutt. Obviously, bolting the tapped one does kind of give a signal. But I will bolt here again. I don't see any advantage on holding off. Another lord. Another 2 lords. Oh lordy. So we can hold up a mountain and screech. Only got 2 white pips. And then I will quite happily get into combat and trade 2 of these in for I guess the Fiend's Informant would be tapped. If I'm flashing back the Screech, we're actually in a slightly fortunate position where we don't there's not a point the opponent gets priority when the Screech is in the graveyard, so we can flash it back straight away and a Pharaoh Macabre doesn't interrupt it. We're up to 4 flying attackers, which we're going to be hopefully getting over the line with the Rally the Peasants. So 4 times 3 is 12. If we draw a land, the Rally's lethal. I don't think kind of chump attacking to try and bluff another bolt is worthwhile. Got 5 minutes left, which wouldn't normally be a problem, but considering this these lag issues, it might annoyingly be so. I'm just going to restart the client and see if that helps. So we load back in with 4 minutes. We can auto yield through this turn. Kind of happy they don't attack. They do respect a bolt despite us leaving this back. We attack with 4 birds. Use our first Rally the Peasants. So we could have attacked with these as well, but I'm not. I guess we're looking to win in the air. And I'll play a Scrapworm and pitch the Lunite Veteran. Shufflebug. So hopefully with these in the air and then the Basilisk Gate, it looks like we should be able to lock it up. So 4 and 1.